It's been months since we globally took a detour into this wilderness. It was meant to be a short diversion, or so we thought. We hoped it would quickly blow over so we can get back to normal. But it has been months and counting, and we are still marching through this thick forest of uncertainties. Many of us are so ready for the promised land, but it seems we're only going round and round the same circle, no destination or solution in sight. Above the noise of our trudging feet and wearying breath, we hear the voice of prophets, not in churches and organized institutions, but out in the streets, online, and everywhere you can imagine, set loose by God for such a time as this, raising the call. They are calling the attention of whoever cares to listen. The King is returning soon. The wedding feast is nearer than when we first began. It's time to clean up and get ready. I know many of us blame the pandemic for all that seemed to have gone wrong in the world today. And that could be right. But we forget that nothing catches the maker of all creations by surprise. If he sanctioned it, then it's all working in line with his determined purposes. We forget that there may be powers ruling here, but the ultimate authority belongs to God. We forget that the world is not home for us. As pilgrims on transit, we are not meant to settle. The losses and depreciations hit us so hard because too soon we forgot that our treasures were not supposed to be piled here. We lose heart for loved ones gone home, forgetting that is where we all are headed sooner than later. As it was in the days of John the Baptist, God has raised the volume of the voice on various platforms to sound the alarm. They are calling on one and all, change your ways, go deep in the water and be cleansed so you can get dressed and be ready for the return of our soon coming King. The pandemic was not meant to distract us. It was part of the alarm, sounding up in every nation to let all and sundry know that powers will fail, nations will fail, money will fail, technology will fail, even science will fail us, but God never fails. The pandemic was not meant to divide us. It was supposed to raise the rallying call for the healing and unification of a distressed body. The messengers are many, but the voice is one, because the message is one. The voice is saying that the pandemic is just part of the signs of the times and not to be exalted above God or His word. That the suffering is not supposed to turn us against God or against one another. It should turn our hearts and our eyes to heaven from where our help comes. It is supposed to drive us deeper into God and not away from Him. It is supposed to draw us closer to one another as members of one body, not pitch us against each other. It is supposed to alert us of how brief life is and how short the time that remains for us to get ready as the bride of our soon coming groom. Hear, if you care, the voice calling in the wilderness of this age. What the enemy meant for evil, God is using for good to buy for all of us the time we need to turn away from vanities and distractions to stay home and sit down with ourselves so we can search our hearts and mend our ways. To kickstart our preparedness, because the King is coming for a ravishing, not a vanquished bride. In the days of Esther, it took months to get ready for a mortal king. How long is it going to take us to get ready for our immortal Redeemer? What appeared like a shut-in for Esther and the chosen ladies was just a preparation time so that they could be made ready for the king. What we have known as shutdowns are our own shut-in to awaken us from the slumber that has been going on for so long, so we can get into the mode of readiness for his return. What did you do with that time? What are you doing with the time on your hands right now? Even the season of seeming wilderness is meant for our preparation. But how many are listening to the messengers raising the call and crying themselves hoarse? When John the Baptist raised the same call many years ago, at first they labeled him the awkward prophet. Then things shifted and every Tom, Dick, and Harry were jumping into the wagon because it became the cool thing to do. But John was not deceived by their appearances. That prophet wasn't celebrating the massive turnout because he was not bamboozled by numbers. Instead of patting himself on the back for a successful ministry on the basis of a large turnout, he called out louder. It is not enough to show up in church. It is not enough to sign up online. And it's not enough to claim and dress and talk the faith. Change your heart. Change your life. Change your ways. It's time to live out our faith. It's time to talk the faith and walk the talk. It's time to let the light shine through this darkness. It's time to be wise and save up oil for your lamp because the coming of the groom is at hand and you need enough oil to keep your lamp burning. The past couple of years have been trying, but for some of us, it has proven to be the most fruitful as we were forced to focus more on God. With nothing else to do and no more excuses to offer, many of us were left no other choice but to make time for the things we've always pushed aside. To invest more into our relationship with God and those around. Apart from the losses we all had to bear in varying measures, these seasons have been the most intense and yet the most resourceful for me. It has seen me deliver 4 books and still going. I have learned new skills and I am exploring new grounds. This video you are enjoying right now was birthed in this same season of drought and difficulties. It just shows that what was meant to decimate us can result in our proliferation. If we will choose to walk the valley of the shadow of death with God, if we will keep our ears and our eyes on God instead of all the bad news making rounds and stirring up fear, God can show us the good hidden in the darkness we are traveling through. As we see the deep reef that is showing up in the body of this bride that is supposed to be getting herself together for her soon coming groom, it makes one wonder, does she even understand the signs of the times? Is she conscious of a season and that the time is short, that she is supposed to be on her marks, getting set to go home? What will be our excuse if we miss our call? None of us can claim that we didn't have time enough. We all got enough time for reflection, even though we called it lockdown. Grab your journal if you don't mind and write as you think through these questions. As we hear the voice of prophets in this wilderness we are all traveling through, what are you going to do about the call? How are you going to make yourself ravishing and ready for the groom? How will you help your family and friends, relatives and strangers that cross your path to answer the call and get ready? What will you do different today? What are you going to change to demonstrate that you have heard the call, that you are taking it serious, and that you are committed to getting ready? Make hay while the sun shines, they say. However we make our bed, so shall we lie on it, said my mom. Time is ticking, not waiting. It's time to get ready. Stop waiting. Stop looking behind. Keep your eyes ahead. Tune your ears above. Where there is a will, a way will appear. A word they say is enough for the wise. Check out the links and the scriptures below for additional help. Feel free to share your thoughts and answers in the comments. Be inspired. You are a star, and it's your time to shine. Join me in the next video, still on this series of divine interruption, as we delve into knock him out or he'll knock you down.